You're listening to the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brenna Hicks, the Kid Counselor. This is the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast, where I give you insight, awareness, and enlightenment about your parenting and your relationship with your kids. In today's episode, we are talking about stories from vacation, I guess. First of all, I'm so happy to be back with you. I've missed you all. I'm so sorry. It's been several weeks since I've even been able to do an episode for you all. I've missed it. I've missed the time that I spend with you all each week. We have had a whirlwind 3 or 4 weeks, so I'll tell you more about that later on in the episode, but I just got back from a second vacation, so we're going to share a story from vacation today, and the story is about getting on eye level with kids. It's so important, and I have an awesome story that illustrates that, so we're going to dive into that today. I love it when something that I see or witness or experience reinforces what play therapy teaches and what I already know and believe, but then I watch it unfold right in front of my eyes. And that's what happened on vacation. So I'm going to share that with you. So today we will talk through why being on eye level when interacting with kids is so important, how it removes the power differential and what that means and why that's so important as well, and then the connection that is formed during that process. So eye level, really important, great story to share with you. The path to calm, confident, and in control parenting starts now. All right, y'all. Well, I'm so glad to be back. I'm sorry for the long gap. So I think I might have mentioned this in an episode a while back, but Eric and I celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary a few weeks ago. So he and I took off to Key Largo and we stayed at this amazing resort for a week. It was just so much fun, adults only, entertainment, beach, pool. It was amazing. So that took up the end of July. We got back that weekend and the next Monday we moved. So then we spent a week moving, settling in, et cetera, et cetera. And then the following week, we left for our annual baseball trip. And so we try to hit 4 or so baseball stadiums every year. And our process is we follow the Tampa Bay Rays to those stadiums. So we have a lot of friends that travel and go to a baseball game. They try to hit one at every stadium and every ballpark. I just happen to be such a Rays fan that I've decided I would rather see my Rays play in every ballpark. So it makes it a little more complicated, a much longer process. And this year we were able to do a wraparound series where they played the Tigers in Detroit and the Brewers in Milwaukee back to back. So we hit those 2 stadiums and I just got back a couple days ago. So as you can see, I've not been home. I've not had my podcast gear. So I'm so sorry for the long break, but it's been a really great last month or so for us. And we love our new house. We love that we've been married 20 years. We've had so many people almost respond kind of shocked. Like we were just at a store last night and they were talking about vacationing. And I said, oh yeah, we just went on a 20th anniversary trip. And she was like, oh my gosh, you need to write a book for women about how to stay married for 20 years. And I've had all these people respond in that way. Someone told me that I was an inspiration to them. And so it's just been really cool to just be proud and happy that we've been married for 20 and together for 22. And so that has been a really sweet, rich thing for us. And then our baseball trip was amazing. And we went to 6 games up there and it was so hot. Oh my gosh, but we had a lot of fun. So anyway, all that to say, vacation story is something that it's kind of always on the back of my mind when I travel, that I observe things and I take stuff in and I make mental notes. And I actually took a picture of a family in the airport several years ago, and it was a mom, a dad, and 2 kids, and all 4 of them were on a device sitting next to each other on airport seating. And I blurred out their faces and I posted it and I said, this is why I wrote my book, because what happened to sitting at the airport and playing card games or, talking to each other or people watching or watching the planes come and go or whatever, watching happy reunions take place, whatever. I mean, there are so many options, and all four of them just sat and stared at their screens, and, hence I wrote a book, Device Detox. So anyway, I'm always keeping in mind what is noteworthy. And this was just such an amazing experience, so I have to tell you. So we were heading out to one of the games. We were in Detroit. Nope, maybe we were in Milwaukee. We were in Milwaukee. And we were heading to one of the games, but before we went out there, right outside our hotel was a McDonald's. So we went in to order some food right before we went to the stadium. Kane and I were getting sundaes, and my husband was getting a coffee or something. And so we walk in, and there are two, it was a mom, and I'm assuming her sister or her cousin, but it was two similar in age women and a little boy. And so they're in front of us, and the McDonald's was painstakingly slow. So we're all standing there and standing there and standing there and standing there, and we're all wondering what's taking so long, and et cetera, whatever. So these women are kind of chit-chatting, and the little boy keeps kind of interjecting in and saying something, and they say, stop jumping, or he reaches up to take the straw, and they're like, leave that alone. And so they were kind of engrossed in their own conversation, and he was being very well behaved, but he just had energy, and he was kind of needing someone to pay attention. So, me, I'm a play therapist, and this is what I do for my living. So I knelt down right next to him. He's 4, so he's little. So I literally got on my knees and I said, I wonder what your name is. And he looks at me with this smile and kind of like this little bit of shock. And then he looks at his mom. And I think that was either you answer for me or am I allowed to talk to this person? I wasn't really sure what that meant. But mom answered that his name was Aiden. And I said, Aiden, oh my goodness, my name's Brenna. And so we started there, and then I said, I wonder how old you are. And he holds up 4 fingers, and I said, 4 years old? I said, well, that's my little boy, but he's 12. He's bigger than you. And so then he waved to Kane, and Kane waved back. And then I said, well, I am so happy to meet you. And his mom says, well, can you say hi? He says hi and walks the 3 feet toward me and wraps his arms around my neck and gives me a huge hug. Now, what I wish I had video of was mom and aunt or mom and second cousin, whoever the 2 women that were with him. I know mom was one. I don't know who the other one was. I wish I could show you their reaction to this, because they're in equal parts horrified, embarrassed, and don't know what to do. They don't know whether to yank him away from me. They don't know if I'm going to be offended or upset or whatever. They just have this absolute stupefied look on their faces. And I said, oh, that was so thoughtful. I love hugs. And I mean, he just literally kind of like crawled up on my knee and wrapped his arms around my neck and hugged me. And I feel like I need to point out a couple of things. Outside the Brewers Stadium, it's downtown. I mean, it's a rough area. Let's put it that way. So there, you see a lot of homeless, you see a lot of poor. It's like most stadiums, they're in downtown, and downtowns are known for, being a little lower SES and a lot of homeless and things like that. So this is certainly not a place where, you expect a whole bunch of kids to be hanging out and you expect someone to feel comfortable saying hello to a stranger and hugging them or whatever. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, we're in a McDonald's. So it's not like this is my center or somewhere where, they feel like they're going to form a relationship with you. This is a true, total stranger moment where I squat down, I'm curious about his name and his age, and the next thing he does is throw his arm around my neck. So it's a very interesting dynamic to know that was not a likely encounter. And I can promise you, Had I talked to him standing up, that exchange never would have taken place. So there's the vacation story. So now let's get through some of the important pieces of this. So we talk all the time, especially in the private parent coaching that I do. A lot of my episodes have been those rules of thumb. So if you have listened to earlier episodes, you'll recognize the rules of thumb and some of the things we've covered. We always talk about being on eye level and eye contact with kids. So this is something that we've talked through, but this was a real-time live exchange where I watched the power of it. So depending on the age and the height of the child, obviously that looks different. So sometimes you can squat, sometimes you have to kneel, sometimes you can just bend down. But the goal is to get eye to eye level with the child. And at my office, when kids come, every single time, and I don't use absolutes unless I mean it, every single time I go out to the lobby and I greet a child, I am on their eye level, no matter how old they are. So obviously, if it's my older, taller kids, then I stay standing up, right? But if they are shorter than me, if they are younger, I am kneeling, squatting, or bending over so that I am on their eye level. And what's fascinating is parents comment on this. Not always in the lobby, but they'll send me an email or they'll send me a text, or when we meet for our consultations, they'll randomly say things like, well, I noticed that you always get on their level, or I've seen that you always squat down when you talk to them. And why they notice is because it's noteworthy, because adults don't do that for kids. Which brings me to my next point. It's a remover of the power differential, which may not seem that important on hearing it. But let me give you another illustration which will help you understand. So I think I talked about this in one of the other trainings that I've put on that are probably available online. The couple that was struggling with their marriage was seeing a therapist. So husband and wife, I don't know how long they'd been married, but they're going to couples counseling. And the woman was really tiny, petite, short. I think she was like 5'1", 5'2", probably 100 pounds. She was little. And then the guy was like 6'3", 225, 250, I don't know. He was big. And the therapist started observing that as he talked to her, there was a power differential. So for illustration purposes, and I guess to help open eyes, one time she had them go outside in the middle of the session. She drew a circle with chalk on the pavement. She had him sit down in the middle of the chalk circle. She had the woman stand on a chair right next to him and had them have a conversation like that. So he's sitting on the ground, she's standing on a chair, and they had a conversation. And the husband started feeling more and more uncomfortable and getting more and more frustrated. And, his emotions were rising. And the therapist finally said, I wonder what this, I'm sure she didn't say I wonder, that's my phrase, but let's go with it. So I wonder how you must feel right now. And he said, I just feel like she's attacking me. I feel like, all she's doing is yelling at me. And she said, this is what your wife feels like every time you talk to her. Whether you're mad or not, whether you're yelling or not, whether you are upset or not, this is the power differential that she feels merely because of size and height. This is what she deals with all the time. And it was this huge aha moment for him where he realized the significance of a height and power difference in communication and in a relationship. That said, kids feel talked down to all the time because everyone in their world, except their peers, is taller and bigger than them. So even when you're not upset, not yelling, not angry, they still feel inferior. Even when they're not in trouble, even when there's nothing negative happening, when you are way up above and they are way down below, it creates this feeling of inferiority and a power differential. So That is a huge piece of the puzzle because kids are always in that state. So all you need to do to break that is to get on their eye level, and all of a sudden, connection is formed, which is point number 3. So when you are on their eye level, it says several things. It says that they matter. It says that they have all of your attention. It says that you care about them. And it says that you and the child are equally valuable in that moment to each other and just in general. So you're essentially evening the playing field, if you will. And so all of a sudden, there's a connection that's formed because they feel like you met them where they were. They can't rise up to meet you where you are, but you are always able to meet them where they are on their level. And I'm telling you, I wish I had video of it. I wish I had some way to show you that exchange in McDonald's. But as we're walking to the stadium and I'm eating my caramel sundae, I'm saying to Eric, that is just the embodiment of what I believe. That represents everything that we do as play therapists. That was like real-time evidence of the power of making eye contact. And he was like, sounds like a podcast episode. So here we are. But that is such an amazing thing when you watch the child feel like we're in this together and you're here with me. And I feel the connection. I feel the care. I feel that I matter. I feel the attention. Strangers wrap their arms around your neck and climb into your lap. It was truly this adorable, amazing moment. I will never forget it. And imagine what that's like for your own children and the children in your world and in your sphere. Imagine if you do that consistently for them, what that does for your relationship, where a stranger is willing to give you a hug and climb in your lap. What does that do for your child that you already have a relationship with? And you say, I'm here, I hear you, I understand, and I care. Be with attitudes, right? And I delight in you, if you want to add the 5th one in. I'm here, I hear you, I understand, I care, and I delight in you. And I'm going to show you that by being on your level. So amazing. So I hope that encourages you. I hope that you are able to this week, at every moment that it pops into your head, get on your child's eye level. No matter if they're telling you something, showing you something, spending time with you, whatever the moment, make yourself available to get on their level, to connect with them at their eye level, to say, you matter, and I want you to know that you have all of me right now. You will be blessed out of that interaction with your kids. So if you have not already, please go to playtherapyparenting.com/newsletter, sign up for my newsletter, email me, please reach out. I love to hear from you. Thank you to all of you who've been emailing me, brenna@thekidcounselor.com. And in a future episode, I've actually had a dad email me, one of my listeners, and he is requesting that I pitch some of this to dads specifically. So we're going to have a Dad's Day episode, which I think is exciting because I do mostly have an audience of women, but there are those of you special men out there that are working really hard to be the best dads that you can be. And so I want to honor that and celebrate that and encourage you. And men's brains work differently. We all know that, right? So sometimes this doesn't resonate and sit the same way for moms as it does to dads. And so this dad reached out and said, could you possibly spin an episode where dads can really get this? So that's what we're going to do soon. So I'm very much looking forward to that. As always, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for spending time with me each week. Thank you for your emails. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being a part of the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast family. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks. For more episodes and to subscribe to our newsletter, please go to www.playtherapyparenting.com.